Nevertheless,
I didn't get to that point.
yeah, fair enough. I've given up on some as well. Like I didn't finish Tomato Red, so it was that Faulknerian like Southern genius academic bullshit. But anyway, Stonefish. So this Gregor guy is a very dialogue heavy character, and he proceeds to describe the Bigfoot, not just the Bigfoots, but even some celebrities and people he knows, and you meet in real life every day, as these beings called archons, Archons, and basically he reveals to Din that the whole purpose of the cosmos is to eat and shit. No joke. I almost got like a smarter Rick and Morty vibe from this book, and that's why it's going to be probably my number 2 or number 3 when we do our top 10s at the end of the week. But I'm going to hold that thought for now because joining us now is Charles Chadwick, author of Silic's Stash is Missing, and I'm so glad you're here, dude. I don't have to kill time anymore.
Thank you. Let me know if you can't hear me or anything.
You sound fine. You sound fine.
Cool, man. Thank you.
So our panel here, for if you're uninitiated, feel bad all the time. That's Ben Arzate.
Okay.
Have you already met him?
Ben and I are Facebook friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thrilla Manjaro, who I've known since childhood. I don't think you have any writing credits at the moment, but that could always change, right?
Sure.
Okay. The Huffing Cadmium guy, that's Thomas Kleckler, a really awesome, like torturous monster type artist, an artist of the dark and morbid, and also author of Bound by Rights and Subcutania. That's Gregor Zane beside you there, author of the Hanover Block series, and here we are. All right, so first thing,
hey Jeremy, I don't think the names are displaying, are they?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any names.
I just see, and I think I hear someone snoring, but that may be just me.
I think that was probably Ben.
That was just Ben huffing and puffing. Anyway.
No, I'm snoring because this show is putting me to sleep as usual.
I thought we were doing good.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is your debut book. I think some of us here, myself included, and Frank Edler in the chat, are wanting to know how the BizarroCon experience was. It seemed like there was a lot less activity there compared to the year I went, and probably the year Frank went too. Did that result in a more intimate experience, or was it still just as wild of a party atmosphere?
Well, let me ask you guys this. What year did both of you go? Because I know I haven't met either of you in person, and my first year was 2016.
2014 for me. I think Frank went in 2015.
Okay. So I mean, it's a much more. It's not even really BizarroCon. It's just the Wonderland Book Awards, which it has been since COVID hit, and it's and other reasons too. But so the last 2 years I've been here, it's been about, I think we had 25 people, and so it's just a very intimate thing. It's just the awards. Skip and Michael Allen Rose won books. But it's it's different than when I came here in 2016 and there was like 100 some odd people or what have you. It's just it's good to come out here. It's good to see people that I want to see. There's a dude named Zay Burns, which he first came here in 2019, and I love this dude. He's from Seattle, and he was like the first person that I could help. Like someone who had the deer in the headlights look, like when Danger helped me in 2016. I did that for Zay in 2019. I mean, it's a good experience, That said, it's nothing like it was before. So I think that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, something very interesting I've picked up on is that you are very, like, you're cool as a cucumber when it comes to absorbing something that a conservative says even out of anger. And then you turn around, and obviously you probably veer more towards the liberal side. But there are very few people I've seen able to handle conservative statements with a cool head and not just reacting in the moment. And I feel like you could be a good mediator for bringing people back together, if you ever wanted to do that. And that's what it's needed all along. That community needed a mediator to consolidate, to console, this damaged, movement that I never wanted to see die. I just wanted them to calm the fuck down. And I don't know what they expected of myself and Kevin Strange, but there's so much hatred there, And you said that you didn't you say you were writing a book about bridge burning? Or
no, I was writing another post. You read my post. Obviously, you liked it on Facebook about how I want to, I want to see things get back together because I came in late. I came in really late. Like, I was 16, 17, 19, and when shit blew up. And I just want the whole community to stop fucking fighting and come back together. And so what you're saying about being a mediator, I would love that. Here's the thing, though. I'm not going to name names. You probably know who, people I'm talking about. There's certain people you just can't reason with on one side or the other. We can't just say, hey, you need to set aside your political differences or your social differences or what have you, and, welcome certain people back in. The gatekeepers are always going to, gatekeepers going to keep, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, like, I don't know what I personally can do, but I like I said, I do lean liberal, but I don't, you got conservative views. Hey, that's fine. I don't give a shit. It's there's so much nuance to that. Mm-hmm. So what, you had mentioned something about, asking, or you asked me about, what can we do to make, is Bizarro going to be able to make a comeback? And I say yes. And the reason I say this is because I really have an issue when people say XYZ is dead, Bizarro is dead, Punk is dead, hip hop's dead, Polka's dead. No, as long as there are people.
Vaporwave is dead.
What's that?
Vaporwave is dead.
No, Vaporwave will never die.
Meanwhile, go on Fit Bandcamp and find the 1,000 Vaporwave releases from the last 5 days.
All from the same guy.
Exactly.
All John Carpenter.
Carpenter Wave. I would like that Carpenter Wave. That's good.
Yeah.
That's what Brett Carpenter does.
Well, I was talking about John Carpenter myself, but
yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. No, but the reason I say that is because as long as there are people, and there always will be, who are willing to work in these genres, you fucking pick up a guitar, you play punk. Punk's not dead. You're doing it. You sit down, you write a book. Selic Stash is missing. Not plugging myself here, but or what have you. You can't fucking die. Maybe, and this is something I heard of this last weekend. And again, I'm not going to start naming names and stuff, but one person did give a very rousing speech. And they said, is Bizarro going to be what it was? No, it's going to be something different. But it still can be great. And that's how I feel. It's like, what is it going to take to do that? I feel that, Bizarro has generally, in my understanding and my experience, revolved around Eraserhead Press. There's other presses out there, of course, but Eraserhead Press was the main one. And I think Rose understands at this point, she's kind of stepped down from that throne saying, okay, other people need to now do their thing. She doesn't want I don't think she wants to be in charge of this anymore. And this is just speculation. I've had conversations with her about this, but I'm not quoting her. Mm-hmm. But I think she understands, for this to come back to rebuild, what have you, it's going to take more than just her. It's going to be other people. Jeremy, you start a press where you are. You're in Arkansas, right?
No, I'm in me. I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee, sorry, not Arkansas, Tennessee. Where in Tennessee are you?
Southeast.
Okay. I only know
Northeast, Jeremy.
So.
No, is it Northeast? Damn it. I would be a terrible compass. Thank you, Will.
Jeremy, you're in Kentucky.
Close to Virginia, actually, but
But who's splitting hairs?
Right.
Jeremy, you're on the North Pole. Jesus Christ, I admit it already. No, you start a press, you start holding your stuff, you start promoting, you start doing that. That's what it's going to take. It's other people, doing these things. We can't have gatekeepers. We can't have, people out there just saying, oh, you can be a part of this scene because you agree with me politically, but you can't. And I hate the word scene. I just use this in air quotes. But, you know, it's going to take more than just, for as much as I love her, you know, Rose and Razorhead Press to really lift things back off the ground.
That's pretty wild. So I'm out of the loop. I don't really know the situation, but what happened was because of politics, certain people were excluded from a basically like book show convention or a book genre convention. Is that what happened?
It could be a multiple book series on its own, just narrating, you know, certain people and personalities clashing, certain scandals. Scandals is too strong a word, but and I've gone over them ad nauseum, as has Kevin Strange when he and I were working together. But the point is that I think that certain things from 2015 on kind of almost put the nail in the coffin, but they had a chance, you know, to keep that momentum, to sustain it until the Chandler Morrison episode at that one Bizarro Con. And you were there for that one, right?
I was. I still have the baby head on my bookshelf.
Can you explain for the two gentlemen here who are unfamiliar with that whole episode what went wrong and how it really highlighted some hypocrisy within that community?
Okay. So what basically happened was the Ultimate Bizarro Showdown, and it was supposed to technically be the 18 con, but we couldn't get this place, Edgefield, where I am now, in November of 18, so we held it in January of 19. And Jeff Burke was very excited. He was at the time the the editor, the guy was running Deadite Press, which I believe is the most successful out of all the Eraserhead imprints, even Eraserhead itself. But he kept going on and on and on about, he's like, oh God, I found this great kid. I love this guy to death. And I'm going to be releasing this book called Dead Inside, which is a love story between a cannibal and a necrophiliac. And Frank, I would love you to Zong again, because I only listened to a couple of those things. Anyway, so what happened was, let me just give you an overview of that con. January 19, I get there. I don't remember much because I was just drinking most of the time. But I meet Chandler in John Skip's workshop on, was it Friday? And this guy is very well put together, just very well groomed, very quiet, unassuming. He reads his story in Skip's workshop. And it was me, Skip, I know, what's this guy, Word Horde Press, Ross Lockhart was there, a couple of people. And when Chandler got done reading, everyone audibly gasped. We're like, holy shit, who is this kid? He's like 25 years old, and he's reading this amazing thing. It was this second-person narrative about a prom queen who's like, I don't remember, she wasn't getting raped, but it was just, it was something very jarring. And then after that, I ran into him at the ad house. I went to go see his reading. And again, he's a very quiet, unassuming guy. He starts reading from a short story, and he's just very animated, very just, all over the place. And it's a first-person account of someone who's killing themselves. And I'm just like, I need to know this guy. So I just told him, after we got done, I'm like, hey, you want to go have dinner? So we had dinner, and we talked, and he's like, oh, I love Chuck Palahniuk. I love Bret Easton Ellis the most. He has Disappear Here tattooed on his arm. And at any rate, so that's kind of the background of this. The next day, I get into the Ultimate Bizarro Showdown in the dinner late. Grady Hendrix was doing a presentation.
So what's the Ultimate Bizarro Showdown? I don't know that even these gentlemen even understand what that is. I do, but I don't think that the average person on this particular broadcast knows what that even is.
So apparently the Ultimate Bizarro Showdown has its roots in the World Horror Con's Gross Out contest, where people are trying to outgross each other. In this case, you're just trying to outweird each other. You have, 6 minutes to get up there and do just the most bizarre, weird thing you can. And at the end of it, the judges, there's a panel of 5 judges, they decide who gets the prize. I think it was that year that Cameron Pierce won because he came up in this persona of young stepdad who was a SoundCloud rapper. And he just was like reading all these raps, and it was fucking hilarious.
Well, that can't be because I'm young stepdad.
We're all young stepdad in the end of the day. But
Just a point of clarification: is this a writing contest or like a performance art contest?
Performance contest. Some people do interpretive dance. Last year, or back in 2019, Carl Fisher got up there, was saying a bunch of stuff, and then every 30 seconds would turn down, moon the audience, and encourage them to throw oranges at his bare ass. Which was hilarious. I can't remember much of the other ones, but at any rate, so Jeff Burke, like I said, was really excited. He goes, "Oh, I'm going to have Chandler do this performance. He's going to be." He wasn't reading from the book, but he's going to be reciting a section from the Dead. So I get into the dinner and I sit down next to Chandler, and he's got this bag sitting next to him. And I thought it was meat at first, but I couldn't tell what the hell it was. I just saw it was red. And he gets up and he goes, "Watch out, I want you to catch something." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So he gets up and he starts talking, about his reading from his book. And it's a scene in Dead Inside where the cannibal convinces the necrophiliac to have sex with an aborted fetus, because that's all the cannibal eats is aborted fetuses. And so in the necrophiliac just goes down to the morgue and fucks bodies, but she's like, "Oh my god, you have to have sex with this aborted fetus." So Chandler's telling this, and he unzips his pants, and whing, and everyone thought it was his real dick, but it was a strap-on. And I'm sitting halfway back in the ballroom, and at first I was like, "Oh god," everyone just gasped. And then I realized that's not his real dick. His real dick can't be that long. I love this guy. This is a long dick.
I know, he's a pretty skinny guy.
At any rate, so then he pulls out this baby doll, and a typical baby doll, and it's painted blood red. Again, I'm sitting halfway back in the ballroom. I can see this clearly. And so he's talking, and he just starts fucking this baby doll with this strap on. And people are kind of chuckling. I'm laughing my ass off because I was like, "This is hilarious." I'm looking around, and I'm like, "Is anyone bothered by this?" Well, I'm in a room full of people who have been through far more transgressive performances than I have. So I just thought, hey, it doesn't bother me. The only people, and I actually met one of them today, the only people that I thought it would bother were the wait staff. I'm like, these people just can't get up and leave. And I actually say, a couple hours ago, I met a woman. I was sitting at the bar, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you're here for BizarroCon." "Oh yeah, I was there in 2019. I'm like, "Were you on the wait staff in the ballroom?" She goes, "Oh yeah." Goes, "I remember that." Okay. But that's
they got big tips.
Yeah, but no one got up, no one left, no one. When Michael and Sada came up and said, "Hey, it's 3 minutes. Do you want him to continue?" Everyone cheered. We all cheered. So no one stopped him. But at any rate, so the end of it is basically him ejaculating. And he just like, and then he rips the baby doll head off and throws it in the audience. I catch it. So that's the whole background behind that.
What is that an omen of, that you caught the severed baby head?
It's just an omen of he has great aim. He's like,
yeah. I mean, he asked him to. He told him he was going to throw something to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't an omen. He was pretty plain.
Climax of the performance.
No, you know how at a marriage,
prestige, as they call it.
At a wedding, they throw flowers at the girl.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, what does that symbolize, that you caught the baby head? What does that mean for your future?
I don't know if I want to know. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Life is better with surprises.
So after that, so after the performance is over and everybody, goes on like to the next event.
Imagine having to follow up that.
Yeah.
You know what was hilarious though, is that so we took a break after that. A bunch of people went outside, and people were crowding around Chandler. Again, I'm not going to name names. There's some pretty big names. They were all shaking his hand, going, "Oh my God, this is amazing! This is incredible! You are wonderful." And I turned around and I saw one attendee, this woman who I've known for a few years, and she was shaking and she was upset. And I go, "Oh my God, maybe that was kind of upsetting to some people." And she goes, "Yeah, you really shook me. Like, I'm not trying to be funny." And I was like, "Well, okay, maybe that was a bit too much for the Ultimate Bizarro shit. Maybe this should have been in the gross out contest." But we all get back up and we sit down, and I'm looking around, and I can still see that some people, mostly women, were kind of visibly upset. But then Danger Slater comes out dressed like Kermit the Frog, and he's saying, "It ain't easy being green." or his Rainbow Connection, or one of those things, and everyone was just like, doing all this stuff, and his face was all great. And that really, that was the fernet to the spicy meal. It was the chaser right there. So, anyway, yeah. So that's the whole 2019 Bizarro story. But I remember thinking to myself, wow, I'd be surprised if this doesn't blow up. And it took like a week or two, and then I jumped on Facebook, and I'm like, I saw one thread where it really, 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 really blew up. A certain female performance artist here in Portland had posted something, and then went from there. It wasn't just about Chandler though. It went from Chandler to being a much bigger thing. It mushroomed, and that really bothered the shit out of me, because people were calling Rose out in public, and I'm like, you don't need to call her out in public.
Rose is one of the hardest working women I have ever met. That's the God's honest truth.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Like I say, I've only been around. I've been, interested in Bizarro since 15. I've only known these people since 16. I love Rose to death, and from what I understand, she was instrumental in building what we have known to be Bizarro. And when people are like, "Oh, hey, Bizarro's a boys' club," she went out of her way to get more women in. When they said, "Oh, you're not representative of LGBT people," she went out of the way to get more, other authors in. And it's the way people dogpiled on her pissed me off so bad, because I'm like, this is a woman that you've been like suckling at her teat for years, and now you're just throwing her under the bus.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
that's like impossible standards. Whatever they demand and you give in, they're just gonna want more.
I mean, I don't. I'm not going to go into the specifics. So it's my understanding there were other issues that had been festering in regards to BizarroCon and the Bizarro quote unquote scene, and the Chandler Morrison thing just kind of brought it all to the forefront. Even though Chandler didn't really deserve the shit that he got.
No, first of all, he didn't.
No, not at all. Not
and
in the
Jeff
least.
Burke did not deserve to get fired, but Rose unfortunately had to cave under pressure. And again, I don't fault Rose for that. She had to do what she had to do to save her business, and I understand that. The fact that Rose and Jeff are still friends today makes me very happy.
Yeah, his Deadite contract, was it Deadite or Eraserhead contract, was canceled in the wake of that because of the reaction.
Yeah, because people were calling for Rose's head, and in that time,
it got outside of like the whole Bizarro scene into the general sci-fi fantasy fandom, which made it a real shit show, because like obviously those people aren't going to fucking understand the whole atmosphere. It's just like, oh, look how nasty this is. It's like, yeah, this is just what we do. Go away.
Keep in mind, he was entertaining people with performance art at an event hosted by a press that has published book titles such as Baby Jesus Butt Plug and Ask Goblins of Auschwitz in the early days of...
I mean, that's the main takeaway from it, right? I mean, obviously it's a cool story about the guy doing this wonderful performance art that's just shocking in general, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that it was entirely the correct venue to do such a performance, and then it was just like old school marms went nuts, and
Well, my understanding, and the reason when I was telling the story, I kept saying I was sitting halfway back, is people who were sitting almost right next to him thought that A, he really pulled his dick out.
Right.
B, the baby was painted brown, so they thought it was a racial thing. And C, he actually came. I was sitting halfway back. I need glasses, and I could fucking see none of this happen.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's even humanly possible for somebody, that the person who said that, to actually believe it?
Like this, I mean, go ahead and answer this while you're thinking about this. This should have been like a Ozzy biting the head off a bat thing. Like, well, first of all, don't deny that you did it.
Yeah. I don't know if he can bounce. I mean, sorry, what was your question again?
Do you think that the person who claimed that all of these things were real, right? Like that it was a baby that was supposed to be representing a black baby, and that he actually had his penis out, and all these things, right? Do you think that person genuinely saw that and believed that that's what was happening?
I think maybe that that was the initial impression. Like I said, my initial impression is he whipped his dick out. Everyone thought that because he was like unexpected. He just goes, and everyone was like, oh. I do, knowing one of the people who really caused a fuss, I think it was more of a histrionic kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think maybe where you said like the outrage kind of happened a week later, that maybe people kind of coached each other? They kind of sort of like a game of telephone where did you see a real dick? I thought I saw a real dick, you know, and people just kind of invent the salacious story over time, and then the most horrible, you know, least charitable version of it is the one they push forward when they demand something.
Possibly.
That sounds pretty likely.
I keep coming back. So Jeremy, you know, I read, like I've known of you and Strange, I think since 16. I remember a certain dreadlock person was complaining about you back in 16 when I first got there. And so that's when I first heard your name. And then in 17, I remember seeing the post that you made about your break with Bizarro. And I read that several times. And you had mentioned, and again, I'm not going to say something, but you said this particular person tried to take the worst mass shooting in American history and tried to make it about them. And
you said that?
You said that. You said that. She tried to take the worst mass shooting in American history and make it about her. Because this woman had said, white men are the worst terrorists the world have ever seen.
Oh, here's the deal. The dreadlock person you're referring to and her, I have since gone out of my way to apologize and you know, admit, you know, what I was wrong on, explain where my head was. Jeff Burke, he accepted the apology and was like stunned by it, and then like hardened himself up to it and didn't respond again. So I don't know what that was about. Maybe he just couldn't trust me again. And I really went out of my way to apologize to Tiffany Scandal for the things I said and did, you know, to her book. You know, I was in a dark place. My mom was dying. And, you know, I did think that she was wrong in what she said, you know, so I did something that turns out I was wrong in doing, you know, and I've gone out of my way to apologize to her since then. She didn't respond. How do you respond to that exactly anyway? You know, I don't blame her for not.
Jeremy, the reason I bring this up, though, is because that line, though, it resonated what you know, what you said. And that's the way I feel about the person, or maybe one or two people who blew up the whole 2019 thing, is they tried to take some, you know, this performance or whatever, they tried to make it about them. Again, histrionics. It's got to be about them. It's got to be, here I am I'm so offended because of XYZ. Was Chandler's performance offensive? Sure, that was the whole point. He's not an edgelord, but he was trying to shock, and it did a great job. And so right after things blew up, and both Skip and Keen were like, oh, hey, maybe we can have something later on where it's, you know, we could have a separate thing where here's the Ultimate Bizarro Showdown, and here's like more of a gross out contest. And that's where that belongs. And I agree with that. But the masses wouldn't accept it. People are like, no. We, you know, off with everyone's heads. Off with, you know, Gary Brown's head. He got banned. Off with, there was someone else. I don't know who got banned. And, you know, the fact that it just blew up into something that it shouldn't have blown up at all. It was a candle that lit a forest fire. You know, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, it really makes me wonder, when you ask someone to push the boundaries of good taste to such an extent that these really creative authors who have written some really gruesome and like epic scenes of, you know, perversion, if you ask them to pull their worst, you know, imaginings, their worst, you know, fears and fantasies, and, you know, and you ask them to push it to the absolute extreme to compete against each other. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't reach this fever pitch that it did with Chandler Morrison before this.
Exactly. And, you know, like
part of the reason, sorry to interrupt, but I want to say part of the reason that I think it happened with Chandler is is that he was like the new guy and people weren't familiar with him, so it was a
Mhm.
bit easy to tar and feather him as the bad guy.
And that was he was just the springboard to let's ban Gary Brown, let's ban XYZ, let's ban why aren't you doing enough about this and that thing. And from what I understand, after that, Rose was just like in a bad place because she was just getting dogpiled on, and it pissed me off so bad.
It's like going to a gun show and being offended that the people there are pro guns.
No, you're not wrong, man.
Another part of it, like you said, is where sort of the mainstream kind of got a taste of Bizarro, and they had never really heard of it, and they were just sort of disgusted by it in general. And then hearing this, just kind of said, "Oh, this can't be something we can't let stick around in publishing and in the genre and sci-fi fiction world. It's just got to be something we got to excise or at least kind of isolate to the point to where it's irrelevant."
Yeah, it's like looking in on a very niche. You can't, as an outsider, look in, and condemn them. Just all of a sudden you've noticed that, hey, these people are enjoying this over here, and I don't like what they're enjoying, so they shouldn't.
My understanding, though, is that the people who were raising the biggest fuss, they weren't outsiders. They were very much longtime insiders.
Oh, really?
The
Yeah.
performance artist you mentioned.
Yeah, that's why I think it was so.
He is
that's why it was
Chandler
so.
Morrison got the brunt of all the shit. At least
Yeah,
at
like
first.
you're saying, he was the new guy, so they could dogpile him. Jeremy, you were saying?
the performance artist you mentioned. I guess the one who was shaken, who dropped off. Oh, Huffing Cadmium. Thomas Kleckler dropped off. Oh, there he is. Anyway, I guess you don't want me to say who she is, but I know who you're talking about, and she is a brilliant performance artist. She wrote a really awesome anthology. Should I even plug it? I want to plug it, but I guess I shouldn't. I don't know.
That would be the same as saying who it is, Jeremy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, whatever,
Is there a particular reason why you're avoiding naming the person? I mean, if they're responsible for this criticism going forward, you think it'd be publicly associated with it, right? So it's like something. Was it like information given to you in confidence, or I'm confused?
No, it wasn't given me in confidence. I don't like. I'm not afraid of offending people, but at the same time, I try to be civil, and that's the reason I don't want to, name certain names.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have much of an audience, I feel like naming that person is like kind of an invitation to be like, hey, look, that person over there, go get them. Like, obviously,
You don't want anybody to take your conversation the wrong way as an instruction to lash out or something, right?
But I mean,
obviously, if you know who this is, do not contact them. But
I can plug her book in a different conversation, though. Absolutely. I mean, not related to this. I mean,
we're all civil people. I'm here to have a civil conversation with all of you. We're all having a civil conversation, so I just don't see the need to do it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any histrionics, as you put it, from you, and that's really refreshing.
Thank you.
You said there are some people within that community that were there from the beginning who still, who are either just now talking again or still don't talk, and they live next door to each other. That's really sad because I know that those guys were friends since childhood. I mean, I at least knew that much.
Actually, so one of the people I spoke to just because I talked to both of those people. I saw one of them this weekend, and I said, "Oh, hey, you're talking to the other guy now. I saw something on Facebook about that." He goes, "Yeah, we're reconnecting." Yeah. So I'm like, the two people that were friends from childhood, and I said, that makes me so happy because I know you guys have been friends for, you're over 40 and you've been friends, like for 30 some odd years or some shit, and that just makes me happy. Even if, the other person doesn't come back into the community, it just makes me happy that people are starting to mend, heal the wounds and so forth.
Yeah. At the same time, I would like to see, where can you go past Bizarro as far as pushing the envelope of, weird literature, or as Will, as you put it last week, the detritus of the literary floor. the ocean floor of literature. What did you say?
I can't remember.
I mean,
Okay.
Long gone. Down
I
the
mean, I can
memory hole.
definitely point to presses that, even if they aren't really in the same vein as Bizarro, that are definitely like putting out great books and pushing the limits of of literature.
Like who?
Inside the Castle, they're amazing. They do experimental literature. The books they have are great, and I would highly recommend them. Mike Klein has actually released a couple books through them, and his work is pretty great. Amphetamine Sulfate, of course, their works are really great. They do a mixture of chapbooks and regular books. They've published Audrey Zaz, Nutriche, just a lot of really great authors. Let's see. There's,
I don't know if Expat Press does any physical stuff, but I've been reading.
Actually, yeah, Expat Press. Yeah, you have to order directly from their website to get any of their books, but they do put out some amazing stuff. Yeah. Apocalypse Party, they put out some amazing books.
Planet Bizarro Press. The book on Matt Clark. This guy's amazing. If you guys are looking to, submit anything, I recommend hitting him up. He is a wonderful guy. Yeah,
Planet Bizarro definitely seems like they're picking up where some of the other Bizarro presses left off.
Now, Planet Bizarro just had that whole problem with Amazon where the authors were screwed out of royalties on their books because of quote unquote misleading or false advertising. Right.
So my understanding about that was it was just Matt Clark, the head of the press. It was his book. Something about it was a really long title.
Things were great until you became a fucking menace.
Yeah, and so he went through this whole thing, and they shut that down. They shut all of his self-publishing down there, and he says, because he releases a lot of his anthologies via Amazon, and that's how he gets the most of the money that he can use to run the press. Everything else is run through Ingram Spark. And so, he had this issue with that, and it just, he eventually got it resolved, and Amazon apologized to him. But I don't know, as far as like, people getting screwed out of royalties. I don't know. I got my royalties, and he's a solid guy. I've never had a conversation with him outside of email or social media. We're going to do a Zoom call at some point, but because of the time zones, it's hard for us to connect. But yeah, Matt is a good dude. Really good dude.
So we got to at least talk some about your own book, man. We've devoted so much time to other people's work. Selleck Stash is Missing. You said that you came into this whole thing late, but it's obviously a tribute to that funny and loose, Bizarro style. It's about Tom Selleck and his mustache being abducted by a gypsy woman, but she doesn't abduct Tom Selleck, just his mustache.
She just steals his mustache. So the genesis behind the story was at work. It was about this time last year, actually. Coworker of mine mentioned something about Selleck's mustache flying away, and I was like, "Oh God, I got to write this book." And I went home. My then girlfriend and I just we outlined the whole thing. And so he's acting in a movie of the week. He's acting opposite this gypsy woman who may or may not be what she seems. And during a big fight scene that they're filming, she steals his mustache. And it's basically the hero's journey. He's got to go get it back. And I wrote it in about 2 or 3 months. I wrote it in 2 or 3 months, and then I was going to self-publish, and Gary Brown told me, "Hey, check out Planet Bizarro Press, Matt Clark." So I submitted the first chapter on a Sunday. The next day, Matt says, "I want to read the rest of it." The next Sunday after that, he goes, "I'm publishing you." And I'm like, why is everyone complaining about publishing being so hard? I'm a fucking week.
I'm sure Clark's going to have less of a response time as Planet Bizarro blows up and more submissions come in. But you got it on the ground floor, so that's a good way.
To Matt just grudgingly admit to me, he goes, "Your book sold more pre-orders than any of mine put together," and I was like, "Oh, all right, dude." Yeah.
So, this is through Planet Bizarro, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You said the hero's journey.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
Joseph Campbell, right?
yeah. I basically use that as a kind of a template for it, but I just wanted to pay tribute to a lot of like a lot of stuff we all grew up on. I grew up on canon films, book or movies. Like Revenge of the Ninja and American Ninja and shit like that. So there's a lot of stuff in there. Michael Dudikoff, from American Ninja, plays a part in there. There's another actor who I'm not going to spoil too much, but another actor with a very famous mustache who's in there. And I just wanted to have fun. And God, it was the most fun I've had since I started taking writing seriously in 2015. Is the most fun I've had ever. And it's great. So, yeah. Gentlemen, I need to pause here real quick. I need to grab another drink. I'm going to smoke a cigarette.
Mhm.
And I will be back on here with you in just a few minutes.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Anybody else need a piss break or a smoke break?
No, but I will take this opportunity to dip. I gotta go. Thanks, guys, for having me on. It was great to see you guys again.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Thomas.
coming.
Hope it was everything you expected it to be.
It was everything I could have ever hoped for.
It's good to be back, and it's great to reconnect, man. I might have some more customs for you next year.
Great. I'm looking forward to more shows too.
All
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Peace out.
Great to see you, man.
Have a good night.
And while we are on this break, I'm going to go put my clothes in the washing machine, and I'll be back in just a little bit.
Okay, and I am going to stop my webcam so I can masturbate while I mute myself, and I will be back shortly too.
Good Lord.
Okay, I'm done. All right, Gregor. So you've been kind of mum. I don't know if you're still mad at me, but how are you doing? What are your thoughts so far?
I'm never mad at you, and I'm just politely listening.
Okay, so what are your thoughts so far? Can we send this this lost wayward child of a show home, or will we forever wander in the wilderness of darkness?
You're going to forever wander in the wilderness of darkness.
With no stars to guide me home?
Not a star in the sky, brother.
You'll stay here with me, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's never going to be successful, but it's just still nice to get on the show and talk to you.
I don't know. I think we could be successful.
No, no.
I think if I had a 64-bit processor in my computer instead of 32.
Oh, that would do it. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Because then I would have
missing.
then I would have OBS. I could run OBS if I did it, and that is much smoother than the setup I got now. See, a green screen behind me.
OBS?
It's like kind of like for Twitch streams and shit like that.
I could have a green
It's
screen
like a
behind me,
platform.
so it looks like I'm in a studio apartment looking out on a vast, like, futuristic city instead of a shitty bedroom with the blanket halfway made on the bed. I could make it look like I was like a level in a Mega Man game instead.
I mean, we kind of went over this in the last stream. It's got really nothing to do with the production, as it were, and more to do with the advertising. Like, how many people actually know about this?
You see,
You're talking to him.
Will, you kind of opened the book in the middle. There's a lot of bridges that have been burned for various reasons over the years. And
So then again, what would changing the production quality do to alleviate that?
I could make this look like a Mega Man level instead of a shitty
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's
You're like pointing to a car accident, saying, "Well, I could still do the cross country trip. It's just I just need this new speaker system,
yeah,
so that I can pump my tunes as it's wreckage that they're scraping off the highway."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely need to get the big machine.
I'm just pointing at the kitty. I'm not pointing at anything else.
So when you say bridges were burned, you're just talking about, guests that, have had bad experiences, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it's hard to believe that could ever happen, but
Some of them, it was on them. They overreacted, and sometimes I overreacted. Sometimes we both overreacted.
Well, I mean, here's a question.
Yeah.
What is your goal here? Is it just like conversation? Are you like trying to sort of give a glimpse into the world of this sort of niche genre fiction and just, have like almost like a book club kind of situation where you, because I mean that seems to be what I've seen so far. It's like book reviews and just general conversation. Was
I
that what the
guess
goal was?
my goal for several years has just been to have a place to vent and kind of a place where I can contextualize what goes on in my brain, with certain people who might be able to, absorb it and give their own take on it. That's why I call it the quiet place. It's like I'm trying to give a glimpse into my brain, and then anybody else that's on is kind of like in the path of the mind beams. Okay. Yes, I want to be, like a resource for the underground literary, world. But also, I like to branch off every now and then and talk about stupid fucking YouTube videos or the latest pro wrestling drama. And sometimes I get friction from my co-hosts for doing that. But I mean, it helps keep it fresh if we're not always talking about books. I guess I kind of want to be a few different things,
So
but I
you've
mean,
burned all your bridges, you have no
yeah,
direction, and
yes,
you think the answer to all that is more production.
couldn't hurt.
I mean that makes sense, man. I mean, just spend more money.
Yeah, not me. Not me spend more money. Someone
Yeah.
out there who's listening to this, and they've been waiting for some opportunity to happen in their life, and by God, this is their opportunity.
Jeremy's going full televangelist.
Yeah.
Pick up that phone today. No, wait. Pick up that mouse today and go to the PayPal below. I know that God loves all his children, and you need to know it too.
And God will love you a little bit more if you give money.
Yes. I'll
Don't
share
give
it
any
with
money to charity.
I'll share it with them.
You see, my
after the first $1,000, I'll share it with all these mooks.
You see, my brother Jeremy here, the problem is he suffers from a terrible affliction. He is gay, but when I lay my hands upon him through the power of the Lord, he will be cured. I struck the gay demon out of you. I struck the gay demon out of you.
Oh,
and
yes.
now you
Suck
see,
it, baby.
he is a straight
Suck
man.
it right out.
He is a straight man now.
Wow, it's
Suck
back
it
on
right
the show.
out.
I didn't even notice him sneak back in here.
Suck that demon out. Suck the other demons out too. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Lord has sucked the demons out of this man.
So Charles, you back? Or are you still?
let's hope not.
I hope.
Says he's still muted. Wait a minute. Okay, I didn't mute his mic. I was just
He's
making
not
sure.
coming back.
No, he's there.
The old Irish exit.
It's much like your dad. He says he's going to go out for a cigarette and then he never comes back.
My dad's coming back. He just went to get Pop-Tarts. Nelson. Well, what do you see happening with this, Will? How do you think we get over the hurdle? Do you think I have to compromise myself into this polite, guy having nice little proper conversations with authors who like to be pampered?
I mean, that not necessarily. I mean, I think if you came up with like clear direction for where you want the show to be, and then stuck to that, pick a lane and fixate on that, and just sort of, it seems like the thing you want to focus on is your personality, because I mean, you're saying you keep talking in terms about you, about your ability expression, about interpreting your thoughts.
That's just the title. That's just for the title. See, I don't have really a filter. I don't live my life that way, and so you know, I
You
can be
keep
loud
making
and
I statements. You keep focusing on yourself, but then when you want to talk about that as the focus for the show, you keep talking about you and your co-host. It shouldn't be you and your co-host. It should just be you, right?
I
And then
agree.
No,
I
you
agree.
bring people on to tease out certain facets.
but I've got
Right.
people on my side here that I
No, you don't.
that I try to be diplomatic with. I mean, what are you talking about? Why would I not include them? You
Well,
know,
I'm not
as in
saying you don't
we?
have to include them.
Oh,
I'm just saying what
But
what
Thrillman
are
Jaro is correct in his assessment. This is the Jeremy show. It should be the Jeremy show wholly, and then anybody else should just be a special guest appearance. There shouldn't be any regular co-host on it.
what?
Yeah,
Is
if
this
you
your
want to be
way?
successful.
Is this
Right.
your way of leaving me?
No, I think it's absolutely true, though. I mean, as far as if you're doing like a consulting, a consulting gig, right? We're giving you free consultation, and that would
you
be
asked
what we
us
would recommend.
what could be done to make this more successful. We're trying to
Uh,
tell you.
Right.
If you want it to go the way it is, by all means, it can keep
Yeah, do
going
it.
on this way.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
I
Carry
never
on
thought I
says Ben is mega gay. Oh yeah, if I'm gay, then how come I fucked your dad?
Deep
If I-
thoughts.
Yes.
Zach, if you're up there on the Rainbow Bridge and you can hear us stop fucking your dog.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Okay, there he is.
Yeah,
Man,
I'm back. Just a second.
okay.
Right.
We have had to brainstorm really hard to fill this airtime without, you here.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
So we want to plug that book out there again and talk a little bit more about that. We don't just want to make it about other people's work. What else do you have to say about it? I haven't gotten a chance to sit down with it yet. I don't have as much time to read as I used to. But
Well, I appreciate you buying it. I was going to send you a free
yeah.
copy, but
I like supporting authors, and I mean,
Mhm.
it's not an inordinate amount of money anyway. It's just $2.99 for Kindle. If you like, if you prefer the physical copy, there's that for a little more on Amazon or elsewhere. You could probably buy from Planet Bizarro's website or
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Do you have any affiliations with Godless.com? Because they work with a lot of people. What Drew Stepik's doing over there is really awesome. It's like almost like a street team for authors.
When Matt's book, the Madness book, got pulled, I friended Drew on Facebook because he was, saying, "Hey, put it up on Godless," and so Matt did. And I know of Godless. I don't think I've ever bought any books from there, but I really like what he's doing. I do a lot.
Yeah, Godless is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You've brought this book to conventions now, or at least BizarroCon, or what remains of BizarroCon, right?
Yeah. What remains? Yeah. This I made that joke on Facebook. I said, I took my first book to a convention, or I feel like a real author. I took my first book to a convention. I didn't sell a single copy, but then again, I only had 6 copies and I didn't tell anyone they're for sale. So I did do a reading the other night, which was interesting, and I kind of wish I'd chosen a different chapter because it didn't get as many laughs as I thought it was going to. But Garrett Cook did a reading after that, and then Danger came up, and you've seen Danger perform. He kills it every fucking time. So
he's a natural. He's
yeah. He was I think the first person that I met. I think I mentioned that in that post, where like when I came here in 2016, I knew of people. Like I walked in, I'm like, oh, I recognize Rose, and she's like, oh, hey, are you Charles? I'm like, yeah. But then I came into the ad house. I met Lee Widener, who didn't say shit to me, and then I'm just like standing there going, I don't know anybody. And Danger comes out of the kitchen. He's like, hey, just introduces himself. He's a great dude. I love the guy to death.
Yeah, when you first get there, you do have some trepidation until you start seeing people that you kind of freak out over, like when you see them in the flesh. There's a few people that you can get starstruck over in that community, and others, they're like painfully, relatable in a way that it's almost like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
You go over there. Well, maybe not you because you live there, but I went over there like wondering how everybody would be. I built this up in my mind as like an island of misfit authors. Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't think there was any way I wouldn't be a little bit disappointed that how human everyone was. You know, I thought like I pictured in my mind like, and I knew it was bullshit. But I mean, I
Parade of
pictured,
freaks.
yeah, like Midian, where the monsters live. You know, that sort of thing on like a human, you know, literary level. I built it up in my mind to be so epic that it could never be, you know, it could never be realized in real life, you know.
Yeah.
But the year I went was fun, and then I got home, and everyone started drawing these political lines, and you know,
Yeah.
everybody's like white male this, white male that, and like, what the fuck did I do? You know, it's like you know,
I understand why people say that, you know, I'm literally in the worst demographic. I'm a white, middle class, straight, middle aged American male. But at the same time, demonizing us for something we had no choice over is not going to help anything.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to give people a handout. I want to give them a hand up. If we can all be on the same level where we're existing without race or sexual bias or what have you, I'm all fucking for it.
I love
But-
that. I love that saying. I'm keeping that.
All right, yeah, please do.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm quoting it right now.
Yeah.
Continue.
It living. So I grew up in Olympia, Washington, and I don't know how much you guys know about it, but it's basically Portland Light. It's where the Evergreen State College is, notorious liberal arts college. And so I grew up. I literally lived a mile away from Evergreen, and Evergreen is a bunch of, you know, East Coast kids who grow their dreads out, and then they come over here and you know, they're start listening to Bob Marley and smoking weed and taking mescaline and shit like that. And it's just been so weird for me growing up in that kind of atmosphere. Like, I'm glad that I grew up in a quote unquote, you know, progressive area, but there have been so many times where I'm like, you people are just taking yourselves way too fucking seriously. Back in the early 2000s, I met some people. They were doing a public access sketch comedy show called Damn It, This Is Stupid. And I wound up becoming friends with these people. And we did a lot of sketches that were, you know, they may have been what we say now are biased against other people, but we were ripping into ourselves at the same time. So we're like, where's the fucking problem? You know, if we're making a sketch about, you know, making trans jokes or gay jokes, hey, we're making jokes about straight white guys. Where's the fucking problem? I don't know. It's
Everybody should get ribbed. I mean, you know, nobody is exempt from, I mean, getting a little, you know, brush every now and then of, you know, just friendly ribbing, no matter who they are, right? So a wild Mr. Frank has appeared in the studio. Frank, former host from Bazong, Frank Edler, recently released Reg E. Rats. Help me out here, dude. It's a really long title. Reggie Rats.
Reggie Rats Birthday Fun Center and Same Day Outpatient Care Facility.
I love that. And so it's probably, I'm sure it's some sort of play on the Five Nights at Freddy's, Willy's Wonderland type, you know, evil,
yeah,
evil Chuck E. Cheese, you know, Chuck E. Cheese machines gone bad. That whole phenomenon, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's out. It's out now, Mr. Edler.
It's out right now. Correct.
Where can I get it?
Amazon, like you get everything else in your life. It's also available on Godless too. I don't want to say Godless.
On Godless, you said?
It's also available on Godless.
Let's
Absolutely.
see the cover, Jeremy.
I'm working on it.
You need to hire a producer.
Yeah, I agree.
Jeremy, you want to be a producer?
Yeah, that's
I'm enjoying this a lot. So
like, yeah, that's the kind of Chuck E. Cheese rat that's gonna be ashing his cigar into like some kid's pizza while telling them to go fuck themselves.
Oh, this looks pretty good.
So
I love
all
it.
I can come up with is Death at the Office. All I can come up with is Death at the Office. Oh, here we go. Frank Elder.
He's looking up Godless.
Yeah, Frank Edler, not Frank the Elder.
Yeah.
Edler. Oh, Frank Edler. What? I'm not seeing it on Godless. I'm seeing the Death at the Office, Exploding Bears, Uncomfortable Shorts, Scared Silly.
Maybe
And
it's come
like
down. It was available on God. Maybe it's come down off of Godless since it went up on Amazon. It went up on Amazon this past Friday.
Is
It
that
was
how Drew
initially
does that?
available on
Is that what
Godless.
Drew does? Or
That's how Between D&T Publishing, who put the book out, and Drew, they do, I guess, in lieu of like a pre-sale, they make it $1 cheaper on Godless for a few weeks before the Amazon official release.
Here it is.
Found it?
Yep.
cheap
right.
too.
Purchased.
Beautiful. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. So this is a little bit personal, but and since you guys only have a limited viewership, I don't mind saying it. I'm going to rehab on Wednesday, so I need shit to read. I'm gonna read this. Yeah. Anyway,
Do you read a lot of ebooks, or are you talking physical copies?
I read a mixture of both. I'm not gonna have a phone or a laptop for 2 weeks, so it's gonna be until after that I'll be able to start reading it. But
well, that Tentacle Death Trip should make it to you by then. If not, I will send you some other Jordan Crawl book that I have. I hope it wasn't lost in transit. I mean,
I'm sure it'll get there. Did you find a tracking code? If you
I can call. I'll talk to the post office tomorrow about it. But
did you send it media mail?
Yeah,
that can take extra long via media mail.
Well, there was a holiday, I think, last week, or was it at the beginning of this week? And the lady said it should get here by next Wednesday. She said that last week, and here we are. What Sunday?
Yeah.
And did you check your mail today?
No, I haven't been home since Thursday, man. I'm still
okay. That's encouraging. Hopefully, it's there when you get back. If not, I will send you some other Jordan Crawl book free of.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm sure it'll get here, man. So don't stress about it. You got to sell the books to make your living to someone else, and I don't mind at all, man.
Yeah, Gregor doesn't want me to sell my books. He wants me to stay poor and rich in books, but poor in prosperity.
Yeah, that's correct.
Why?
I've told you, you don't want to break up this carefully curated collection that you've been,
what am I going to do?
Accumulating over a decade or more, right?
Who gives a shit about? And I'm not saying I don't give a shit about the carefully curated collection, but who else gives a shit about it? I mean, I basically did it for nothing.
Hopefully, the people you're trying to sell it to.
Oh,
I'm telling you, Jeremy, OnlyFans. That's how you make money.
What would I do with an OnlyFans?
What do you think you would do?
Hey, I mean, you use your imagination, Jeremy. Come on.
There's a woman that I
I'm not showing my feet on there.
Dude, if you do
I guess you don't like money.
Favorite person,
I could show my feet and say that I'm like a really slender, pixie-like 25-year-old, right? And I play an acoustic guitar. I play an acoustic guitar, and I've never been with it. And here's my dirt-soiled feet. And they look like eagle's claws, but I'm a pixie-like, slender 25-year-old
eagle's
woman.
claws.
Okay, anyway, back to Charles here.
No, real quick, Frank, I do need to ask you, can you give us a little bit more of a breakdown on this Reggie Rat's birthday book, because it sounds fucking great.
Sure. I wrote the book because when you talk to horror writers, everybody gets the cheesy question as a horror writer, like, what scares you?
Right. Yeah.
And there was never I never had a good answer for that. I don't know, nothing really truly scares me. But I ruminated on that question for a long while, and I finally did come up with an answer. And I have two answers. Two things legitimately frighten me in this world. The first is kidney stones. Kidney stones frighten me. I've never had a kidney stone, thank God, to this day, knock on wood.
Yeah.
I've seen people go through them, and it looks like the worst, most excruciating pain, like beyond. I'd rather give birth to a child out of my pee hole, I think, than so like I've like
you can take the kidney stone and put it on a ring afterwards.
yeah, well, that might be cool, but I don't know. It just doesn't look worth it for jewelry, you know? So I legitimately do not want to get kidneys. I'm so frightened because of what I've seen people go through trying to pass those things. And the other thing are Chuck E. Cheese birthday parties. I've been to lived through the hell several times of Chuck E. Cheese birthday party. That place is disgusting. The second you walk in, it doesn't what Chuck E. Cheese where. The second you walk into the foyer, there's a sign on the wall saying no firearms allowed, and you're like, why is there a sign necessary?
Yeah, some Pizzagate fanatic start shooting at the animatronic rat and be like, where are the child sex slaves?
Stuff like it's just like that's your initial introduction to Chuck E. Cheese is don't bring guns in here. You're like, is there a problem? Like you need to have a sign here, across your whole franchise. So and there's just the place is disgusting and it's just filthy children wiping their snotty things in the ball.
I'm pretty sure it's the opposite in Texas.
Right?
I'm pretty sure in like the Texas Chuck E. Cheese's, you're required to show your gun at the door.
Yeah, I get
in.
that in Texas, but I live in New Jersey. Like nobody has guns here. Why is it a thing? So yeah, I just wanted to write a book of the things I'm scared of. So I'm scared of.
So
Chuck
is this
E.
one
Cheese
like 500 or
birthday
600
parties
pages?
and kidney stones.
No.
Is this 500 or 600 pages?
No, just shy of that. It's about 150.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this, man. Even if you only have 4 stars on Goodreads. No, I'm just joking. Yeah,
That's
4 stars. Obviously,
from one review.
What do you think about all
no reviews and no bitches?
Frank, what do you think about the sudden just disastrous crashing of all crypto here recently? After you wrote that cat coin book, you got into crypto. You asked me if I ever invested in any. What do you think about this sudden crash of each one?
Yeah, you're the crypto guy.
I think it's a wonderful time to buy some more of that stuff up because it's dirt cheap right now.
Oh, okay. You think it'll rebound?
In that right now.
I do.
What was that?
Ethereum is around 12, 11 or 12, something like that.
Shit, man. Oh, 1129.50.
Yeah.
I bought in at 1600 and I sold out at like 2500 to pay off my credit card. That was back in the house man days.
Yeah. I'm confident all the big ones will bounce back and that crypto is it's a thing, There's a bazillion cryptocurrencies. I wrote that book Catcoin about a year or so after that book came out. I had some weird people acting like I was the second coming of Jesus Christ because they invented or whatever an actual Catcoin coin. And they were like flipping out over my book and everything. And but it just those are like meme tokens, and that if you really get into the weeds on crypto, it's a strange place. But like the meat and potatoes of it, and especially blockchain, there's no way it's not the future. Maybe
that one guy
who it's pretty hilarious. What's his name? Sam Bankrupt-Fraud, apparently. Just a little bit ago, he was like one of the biggest contributors to the to this year's political campaigns, and now he's fucking crashed and he's on his way to being charged for fraud.
The
fat guy with the poofy hair.
Mm-hmm. Well, the guy who did William Quigley, the guy who created the Tether cryptocurrency, Tether or Wax or something. He now has less money than when he first started with Tether. Okay, he's ruined financially, and
the problem is here you got. Their story is, they're just saying it's cryptocurrency. They're making cryptocurrency look bad. It's not cryptocurrency that's bad. It's like in the case of Tether, they were Tether is a stable coin and it's supposed to basically match the US dollar in value. But the problem was they were backing that on 2 different currency networks. So in other words, their dollar was tied to Tether and I forgot what the other one was. So they were double dipping on on their, you know, like guarantee of the cost. The same thing like FTX recently. It has nothing to do with cryptocurrency. That's the exchange, where you know, people who don't know how to get crypto themselves, they go to these exchanges and buy it, and it's you know, the exchange is quote unquote holding your money, but they're doing the same thing. They're sort of Ponzi scheming it out and claiming that, you know, they have all these funds, but they're just like paying, you know, to Peter to pay Paul and just Ponzi scheming the thing, and that type of shit is going to crumble because, you know, once was the like free for all, free money obviously has crashed like crazy, and all these guys got caught with their pants down. That's what you're seeing now. So all this shit's got to get sorted out and work its way out. Of course, just the global economy's in the toilet right now. So there's a lot of bad things feeding this huge downturn in crypto. And you're going to see a lot of crap just flip over and die, and people lose their shirts off their backs. But it's ultimately going to turn around here. It may take 2 or 3 or 4 years, but it's not going away. That's for sure.
Yeah, you know, right before.
I mean, you know, I hate to be that guy, but you know, maybe this is a reason why banks have regulation, so they can't just take your money and flip you the bird and just run away.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, you know, I thought it was pretty attractive. Like, cut out the fucking governments, let money be truly democratized and everything. But the fact of the matter is that the world financial system is not going to allow that. You have to have regulation on this stuff. That's the only way it's ever grow. But so the smart players are for regulation and kind of being on the up and up and about it all. And, you know, this is just it's still so young. And it's the Wild West in a lot of ways. And, you know, staking your life savings on it is not a smart bet at all. But, you know, like it's any investment, you know, you just invest what you can and ride it out and hold on to your whatever stock you got in it, and it'll turn eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then there was a short period where like NFTs were like all the rage, and those just like crashed practically overnight. Like they were talking about.
I actually have an NFT book out.
I have remember you saying
exclusively. That. Yeah, exclusively as an NFT for the period of a year. It sold like one copy, but
how much
really not the point of why I did it. You know, I think they're like $20.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
But I mean, if you really start, you know, people who are down on Amazon and don't like the fact that, you know, you don't have true ownership of the book and that, you know, Amazon can take the content away and everything. The NFT start making a real lot of sense because it's true ownership of the book. It can't ever go away. It's not like, you know, you're taking it from Amazon's catalog and they can curate it and everything. I just was reading something. Oh no, I was watching a documentary on NFTs, or part of it was NFTs. There was a situation with Barnes and Noble where somebody had downloaded War and Peace, and there was a quote from it that used the word Kindle or kindled, and basically Barnes and Noble had some sort of algorithm thing because Kindle is their, you know, competitor. They went through and like any mention of Kindle was changed to Nook. So in War and Peace, if you bought it off of of Barnes and Noble, you read this line and where it says, you know, something whatever was Kindle, said it was Nooked. And that's fucked up shit, right? So
yeah, that's fucking stupid. Like whoever came up with
clarifying, right?
Yeah, whoever came up with that. Whoever came up with that, they needed to suck off the business end of a shotgun.
Truly, but that's not, you know, that's sort of a thing that NFT, a book can take care of. And I know people like sort of think of it as like a one of a kind type of NFT thing, like the Bored Apes and all that stuff that got huge. But like with Haunted Hamburger House, which is my NFT book, there's something like, I don't know, 400 copies or something that are available to buy. So like it'll never sell that many. So it's not like the value is not based on its, you know, scarcity. The value is based on you get true ownership of the book. With this, it comes with, you know, audio version plus all the digital files plus some artwork that they've done up. There's Haunted Hamburger House now.
Yeah, like something like that. Like I'm not as down on. Like I'm skeptical of the idea that I need to prove that I own this ebook or something like that. But it's definitely better than like pay like $1 million for this dog shit butt ugly picture of a monkey shooting lasers out of its eyes.
Yeah, and I can make arguments about the value of that stuff, but that's just a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, that value was definitely artificially inflated by just giving celebrities.
Oh, for sure. That was, I mean, that was just bad actors and just using celebrities and stuff to push this thing. And now they're all getting sued. So,
I met a woman last night who here at the hotel, and she goes, "Oh, I still have money in doggy coin." I said, "What?" She goes, "Doggy coin." I said, "You mean Dogecoin?" Yeah. She goes, "Yeah, it could come back up." I'm like, "Bitch, get away."
Yeah, I'm telling you, Dogecoin, it's gonna bounce back. It's going to the moon, baby.
It's all to the moon, yeah.
But it was hilarious that Elon Musk and Snoop Dogg were all like, "Hey, we're going into Dogecoin." I'm like, "How much are you guys getting to say this?"
No,
it was a pump and dump.
Yeah,
it's always
with Musk. I'm pretty sure it's just like, "Oh, look at me, I'm so funny, I'm relatable. I talk about the meme coin. I'm rich because we had slaves in South Africa."
So
my
Charles,
favorite name to call Elon Musk, and I'm quoting Garrett Cook here, is Phony Stark. And
I think the best name I've heard for him is Apartheid Clyde.
Now that went over my head. I mean, I know what apartheid is, but I don't get it. He's
from South Africa, and his family got rich during apartheid.
Oh, yeah, the white people there were, holding down Nelson Mandela and fucking him in the ass or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the real problem over there was King Leo. He was the guy.
That was years earlier.
That was the Congo, wasn't it? That
was the Congo, and that was like in the 1800s. And yeah, he basically did commit one of the worst genocides that's cruelly forgotten, but that's not really related to South Africa, except Phony in the broader sense.
That's pretty good, Phony Stark.
Yeah.
So Charles, what's next for you? Are you in a hurry to get that sophomore effort out? Or are you working on the rough draft?
I'm working on a couple things. So there's a book that it's a loose collection of short stories based around a fictional bar here in Portland. And it's called Loners, Losers, and Substance Abusers, Tales from the Side Crack Saloon. And it's, think John Conrath. It's me doing a really bad imitation of John Conrath. I've got another book that I'm working on called A Clown Named Death, which is... I'm trying to do extreme horror and crime noir, but it's starring Ronald McDonald. Another one called Attack of the Killer Clams from Chowder Space, which is...
Oh, that's great! I love it.
My ex-girlfriend and I wrote the outline. It was originally writing as a screenplay, so I wrote like half a screenplay, and then I decided after Jennifer and I broke up, I'm like, I'm going to turn this into a book. I need to fucking finish it. And
Chowder Space?
Yes. It's madcap, Selleck Stash is missing. It's these two guys who run a very unsuccessful chowder, business. They come across this big pearl that came from outer space, and they put it in the chowder, and that suddenly makes everyone just come running up to them, and it revives their business. But then there's horrible consequences. And
I love this idea. I mean,
thank you. You know what? When I finish the first draft, or whatever draft, I'll send it to you. I want to get your feedback on it.
Please do.
I think you would like it a lot. Yeah.
I mean, not only do I get Killer Clowns from Outer Space vibes from that, but also Little Shop of Horrors type vibes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So yeah, it's there's that, and what was the other one I was working? Oh, Chad Squatch, which is about this big dumb Sasquatch named Chad Squatch. He's supposed to be watching his little brother Rad Squatch, who's skateboarding around up in the mountains. Chad Squatch is too busy drinking and masturbating. His little brother falls off a cliff. Chad Squatch gets excommunicated from his clan. He comes down here to Portland, and it's basically like King Kong meets My Fair Lady in very loose terms. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. And God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it by the end of the year, because like I said, I'm going to rehab. I'm not gonna have
You're definitely learning the art.
Year, I'm hoping
you're definitely learning the art of the elevator pitch. I can tell.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did
Yeah.
you do any workshops over there while you were there?
We didn't have any this year.
Huh.
I did, like I say, we did a workshop in 2019, and it was just Skip, giving his feedback on stuff we wrote. But yeah, I did a Mary Sue Giovanni did a workshop, I think the same year, and I can't remember what the fuck that was about. Nice lady though.
Yeah. Well, good luck in rehab.
Thank you.
It's not the kind where you're recovering from a torn muscle, though, is it?
No, it's the one where I'm trying to stop drinking. So, yeah, you can edit this out, by the way, Jeremy. About that,
I'm still learning. I can try. I won't correct more though. How about that?
No, it's fine, dude.
I mean, if you're not worried about it being out there, then
I'm not, because it's one of those things where you got to be honest if you're gonna get past those things. So, yeah. Speaking of which, I'm gonna pause again. I get another drink, so
Okay.
Be right back.
Yeah, I don't think Trumpster Bob's coming.
Thank God. I listened to that fucking sample of his show, and I felt like my IQ dropped 20 points.
Take the butthole challenge. Take the Trumpster Bob butthole challenge.
What the fuck was even the issue when you were talking with the with that clip that you played at the beginning? I felt like 5 people with 6 different accents were arguing over nothing.
They were. That's basically what it is. I love that. I love that shit. I get high off people arguing on the internet.
I don't. I remember seeing that clip where I don't know who, a bunch of people were arguing, and Andy Worski just burns his nipple with a lighter. That's what I wanted to do when I was listening to it.
The height of
just
YouTube art. That was the height of YouTube art.
Just to distract from the pain.
Yeah, it was great. Oh man,
the pain of having to listen to stupid people online yell at each other.
I get
existential dread.
I get high off people yelling at each other on YouTube. I don't know why.
Maybe you should. I don't know. Maybe you should stick with drugs.
Well, yeah, I'm going to. But
maybe move on to meth and crack if you really need to. But I'm pretty sure that's better for you.
I've already tried those.
I'm pretty sure those are better for you than listening to that shit.
No, but see, well, no, the meth was just a one-time thing, but
that's what they all say.
And my teeth, I immediately chipped a tooth after I did it one time. So I shouldn't have smoked it out of that light bulb,
Jesus Christ!
You thought I was kidding? Obviously, I'm not.
No, I don't think you're kidding.
This is the heroin from the Hardee's dumpster guy, so I'm not too surprised.
Man, that heroin, I would do that again. Okay, no, this isn't good for Charles to hear. I'm sorry. Anyway, so what were we talking about before that?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, people arguing on the internet. Okay, yeah. So what you asked what that was about?
The it's not PC to say, but the old saying still holds true. Arguing on the internet is like being in the Special Olympics. Even if you win, you're still retarded.
Yeah, but I guess it's where I sat on the sidelines watching the spectacle of my mom and dad yelling at each other growing up so much that,
which I'm sure did nothing to damage your psyche.
Right, but I think
pretty entertaining.
Yeah, you were privy to a few of them, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If you sat down in front of your mom and dad while they were screaming with a bag of popcorn, you'd probably get your ass beat.
Frank, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I'm sorry. I did. Do you have anything to add to this? I don't want to hog the spotlight here.
No, I just wanted to be part of the shit show.
Yeah, I'm thrilled you're here. I'll probably wait around till 10:30 to see if either Trumpster Bob or Kevin Strange show, and I'll probably shut it down after touching base with them. Not Bob, but most likely Strange, I'm guessing. So, I'm trying to think if there was someone else, because I hedged my bets on several different people in order to for this not to be a snooze fest like last week.
Okay, well, Did we talk about what books Gregor is reading?
No, go ahead, Gregor.
You want to know what books I'm reading?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yes. So I last week I actually finished Music is Over by Ben Arzate. Fall Tint by what is it? Protestant Folk Peasant, and Spinal Remains by Chad Lutsky.
Lutsky is a master of his craft. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, so it was a short story collection that was very good. And the Music is Over was really good. It's a nice, tight, surrealistic adventure kind of book. You know,
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, I did like that. So, so has the guy who is the main subject of the book? Is he actually, or has he read it?
I don't know if he's read it. I don't know if he speaks English that well.
Right.
But I did get his blessing to release it.
Do you have any idea if he even knows what takes place in it?
Well, I sent him a PDF of it, but I don't know if he read it.
Right. But he didn't even ask, oh, what is it going to have me doing? Like he didn't care
Not
about
really,
it.
no.
That's great.
And given the things he's actually done on stage, I'm pretty sure he doesn't care.
I see. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a good book. Fall Tint was good too. There was a bit of like dude trying to find which direction to go, but it was still, he's got a very idiosyncratic, easygoing style that's interesting to read. I'm talking about the Protestant Folk Peasant.
Which is Zach. I mean, you know,
Yeah, but that's the name of on the book. And
it's
then
such a hard name for anybody to remember. I just
we'll just call him for short.
right.
and then of course Chad Lutsky's always good.
Yeah, my introduction to Chad Lutsky was Skull-Faced Boy.
That's good.
And
yeah.
I loved how when he went on his little road trip around the USA, how he got into all these adventures with all these different people, you know, RV people. Then he met the girl who kind of felt sorry for him, and she was kind of sweet on him. And then the brother bullied him when her back was turned, and I just loved the episodic chapters. You know, it's like there were like little slivers of story, you know, all throughout. It could have been an anthology.
Yeah, it was like a road trip movie.
Yeah, and that's still the one that I harken back to the most when I think of Lutsky's work. But he's since hammered out like at least 6 other masterpieces since then.
Yeah, he's got a lot of good books out there.
Have you read Of Foster Homes and Flies?
Yeah, that's great.
That one. Was
no, but I
great.
started to. Now that's about a guy who was really good at winning spelling bees and didn't want to tell anyone that his mother was dead inside the house. Is that right?
Yeah, because he wouldn't be able to go
Was
to
it
the
a-
spelling bee.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the daughter? Was it a daughter? Not that that matters. Just a kid that. Yeah.
Who's
Wanted
a-
to get spelling bee.
What's that?
I thought it was the daughter was the main character, not a
No,
son.
I'm pretty sure it was a boy.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I
Yeah,
think he
my-
meets a girl at the park, and it's kind of like she's an older girl,
Maybe
and he
that's
kind
what
of
I'm
has a
thinking.
crush on her, kind of
That's-
thing.
Yeah, you know the one thing that struck me about that, I it's a great book, and I don't want to like fault it, but it was like if this dude's hiding his rotting mother and going to school, like isn't he gonna stink? at some point, you know, like,
Plot hole.
yeah, but like you know, so what? You got to let it go because the book's so good otherwise. But it was like,
Yeah.
why didn't you
Stirring
run in
the
and take a
sheets.
shower or something to cover that stink up? It's gotta reek on him.
Stirring.
Yeah.
Speaking of necrophilia earlier, stirring the sheets was. I just kind of found it just okay. You know. Let's see. The
I
Pale
liked
Light
it.
has been reviewed pretty well. The Same Deep Water as You. I think that also has gotten a lot of traction. And the Neon Owl. Has anyone read that?
Yeah, I've read them all.
Okay. What?
I love the one with was it Out Behind the Barn that he wrote with
Yeah, that's a really good
John
story. Yeah.
Bogan or
Yeah.
John. What is it? John Bowden.
John
Yeah.
Bowden. Yeah, that one was really good also.
Yes. Yeah. The only one I haven't read is the one he co-wrote with Tim Meyer.
Oh, Wormwood. Yeah, I read that
Yeah.
also. That one was also excellent.
Yeah, I haven't read that one yet. That's the only one.
I haven't read a bad Chadwick book, so
No, I haven't either.
But I did think Stirring the Sheets had the least energy of them all. Cannibal Creator, is that nonfiction or fiction?
That's fiction.
Okay. So it's a tribute to, I mean, we know what it's all a tribute to. Cannibal Holocaust,
Right.
Jungle Holocaust, those Italian jungle movies, right?
Correct.
Um,
It's kind of an out of character release from Mr. Lutsky,
mm.
somewhat.
Carrie, and I swear I'll link you eventually, man. I'm just worried that your signal's not going to be good. But I mean, I don't want you to abandon the stream. I've got to see what's I've got to investigate if anyone else is coming on, and then I can time this out. And plus, I've got somewhere to go immediately after the show's over. And you know, it might be a booty call. I don't know. But no. So you're almost home. What do you mean you're almost home? I wasn't aware you went anywhere. What do you mean? What does he mean he's almost home?
Perhaps
Anyway,
he's
He's
listening
almost to your
his
home where he's
car.
going to murder you.
Well, anyway, I'll do my best to get you in a little later, dude. But we got some more people to finish up with. So Frank, you never went to BizarroCon?
no, never went there. No, not once.
You weren't the one then that Strange had to pull aside and say, okay, we're both going to have to talk over each other because this dipshit over here named Arthur whatever went over his time. That must have been
No.
Danger Slater that
No,
Strange.
that was Dangerous later. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Oh, you were at Comic-Con. That's what you mean. Okay. Oh, shit. Well, I'm sorry, man. You could see I'm juggling a lot of people. I didn't want to be boring like last week, on my end. Strictly on my end. Anyway, Charles, you back?
I am.
So, what are your thoughts? How do you feel now that you've gone to the quiet place? Is there no coming back, or do you feel a redemption arc coming on?
No, I do feel a redemption arc come. Like you mean Bizarro, right?
Yeah.
I do. So as I mentioned earlier, there was talk about how whatever happens in the future is going to be nothing like what it was in the past. And to put this into a different perspective, I'm a software developer, and for years, I have had people come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm going to create the next Facebook. I want you to help me. It's going to be Facebook, but it's be for fucking lumberjacks or whatever." And in some of the subreddits that I frequent, the programming subreddits, that question gets asked a lot. People are like, "Oh my God, someone is going to ask me to build them the next Facebook for fucking disabled ballerinas or some shit like that." But the thing is, whatever kills and replaces Facebook is going to be nothing like Facebook. Same goes for Bizarro. Whatever happens in the future, it's not going to be like the past. It's going to be something different, something new. And like I say, I think Rose is kind of stepping down from her, her spot. I think it's very welcome for her, and other people need to take over. We all need to take over. We need to start presses. We need to do, write books. We need to do readings. We need to do performances. I think it's going to be more of a collective thing than, just one centralized issue. Yeah.
Fair enough.
What do you think, Jeremy? Let me get your unfiltered thoughts on how you feel if Bizarro is to come back. How do you feel it's going to happen?
Well, first, I think the chances for a booty call tonight are good, as long as I don't say anything stupid. And
so in other words, not that great.
Nice zinger there. Anyway, as far as Bizarro, at this point I have been the target of so much like bile and just like dark sentiments on my behalf, that I honestly don't know what a repaired bridge would look like. But I would. That's not to say that I wouldn't welcome it, and I would love to discuss. But I don't think anyone would ever be willing to trust me again as far as coming on this show in that from that camp. Even though I
But
would,
let's just not say them, right?
okay,
So
who?
if you were to say this is what it's going to take to make this community, and I hate the word scene so much,
Yeah.
this community, this genre, what is it going to take to build it back up to the point where before, I even got here, like when it sounds like all of you guys were here before me. What is it going to take? What would you, if you had the choice, the chance to say, let's make Bizarro great again, what would you do? How would you do it?
Okay. J. David Osborne, I remember he wrote an article several years ago, back when, Bizarro was like a cultural exchange of weirdness. It was like a growing brotherhood and sisterhood, he wrote this article about the reptilian part of the brain, that
Right.
basically we want to react to all stimuli, with the first emotional, impression we have, but that we should try to listen to that reptilian part of our brain more, and let things just fall off, and I think if we did that, and focused on just the weirdness we shared with each other and those really cool ideas, and stopped trying to, add a million adjectives to our idealists, our ideologies, and then bludgeon people for, not falling into line with each one of those adjectives that we use. That would be good. I'm trying to think of a simpler way of putting this. Don't hold people's feet to the fire and expect them to line their beliefs to line up every which way with yours. If someone doesn't accept something that you feel strongly about, find a way to talk to them, to talk around the subject with them, or find something you agree on. Stop burning each other at the stake,
All right. Yeah. I mean, sadly though, and this is a conversation I got into last night, and I think the night before. The world we live in today is, and I think I shared this article with you, Jeremy, that I wrote about John Hinckley Jr. It was mostly about him, but it was about accepting people back into society who have, drawn blade across society or just offended people.
Mm.
The world we live in these days does not hold itself to that. If there is pick Dave Chappelle, right? Dave Chappelle to me is one of the funniest fucking people who's ever lived. Maybe he has opinions about trans people that I don't agree with, but that should not be the stake that he is nailed to for the rest of his fucking life. We can say, hey, Dave Chappelle or J.K. Rowling, I have opinions, I don't agree with them, but they put so much great art in the world. How we can't do that anymore, So it's like, Jeremy, you and I, maybe we agree on 99% of the thing, but that 1% thing should not be the thing that drives us apart. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But how is that going to be like? Can a community regrow and get past that? I don't know. It bugs the shit out of me.
If you could bring one of those people, the most open-minded one, back with you on here and act as a go-between, maybe we could have one of those hard conversations, in front of a live audience, and have a better idea of how to do it, but
I'd love to try and bring Jeff Burke on here because I know that he's a very and I like Jeff. I know he's a very kind of extreme in person in many ways, as far as his opinions go, and he's a very opinionated person. If I could like bridge that gap, I would love to be able to do it. I don't know.
about that.
I don't know Jeff well enough though to be like, hey, dude, you want to come on Jeremy Maddox's cast? And Jeff would be like, oh, fuck off, But
Yeah.
um,
Well, I was a guest in his house for the 2 weeks I was in Portland, and there were no problems. It was only after I got home and saw the community I loved and had just been accepted into seemingly imploding due to internal politics and external politics.
mhm.
And finally, one day I just saw all of them complaining so much that I just said, "Fuck this," and just deleted a bunch of them. And from there, it snowballed into something else. So I don't think Jeff would be open to that. Maybe a few years from now, when this is all much more trivial, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
If I could bring someone on here and help, like mediate or what have you, who would it be?
well, I want to say Carlton, but he's a hard get for an interview anyway.
Yeah.
He went on J. David Osborne's podcast. Vince Kramer doesn't like to do interviews at all, so I don't guess it would be him.
I might be able to convince Vince. I don't know. Like I talked to Vince and Gary quite a bit.
I know Gary wouldn't want to.
I know Gary is way out there. But
Gary would not. I wouldn't want Gary to put himself out there and be open to unfair stuff. Right? He's been through enough. I want to say Cameron Pierce. He seems like he thinks everything out very logically and doesn't react emotionally. Maybe you could convince him again to come back up.
I think I would. I have only known Cameron for he was the reason I got into Bizarro, but the only times I ever have talked to him has been here at the convention. I talked to him this last week, and it's great. But I might be able to do that. I might be able to do that.
There's no timetable on this. Go ahead, Ben.
I mean, I don't know if Cameron Pierce would be interested in it because he's seemed to distance himself from it pretty far.
From what? From Bizarro?
From the Bizarro community?
Just from writing in general. He released the one book under a pen name recently, and that's about it.
Somebody out there could be that person. Maybe you just got to find it. You live there.
Yeah,
You interact with him. Danger Slater, if he wasn't, walking on eggshells, I think he could be that guy.
I might be able to convince Danger to come on, but Danger's also one of those people that's like, I'm not saying that he doesn't want to have a serious conversation, but I think Danger treats a lot of that kind of interaction more like not an interview, but God, I don't want to say it, like a comedy routine almost.
Yeah.
I might be able to convince him to do that. I don't know.
Well,
that's also awkward though, because Constance Fitzgerald, who is his girlfriend, she and I work together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm happy for both of them.
Yeah, they're together, and I got Constance a job at my work about 2 years ago, so I don't know how that would go. But Carlton, Vince, Danger, Cameron. I think Cameron might be. I think he's still writing. I actually talked to him this weekend, and I think he did say he's still writing stuff. Since he shut down Lazy Fascist, he's got 2 kids, he's got a wife, he's got a mortgage to pay. But
so he is or is not young stepdad though.
Who knows who young stepdad is? I could be young.
I'm young stepdad.
Everyone is young stepdad at the end of the day. That cat right there is young stepdad.
And could young stepdad also be have masqueraded under the pseudonym of Brian Auspis, the author of Deep Blue, as well?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. It could be Stephen King. It could.
Nobody knows who Brian Auspis was either. See, I mean,
it could be Joyce Carol Oates. Who knows who's young stepdad?
I'll tell you what. If Rose would come on, she would be the best. But she's probably tired.
Jeremy, Jeremy, that's the one I'm going to try and do. Rose, really? That was a good one.
Really?
I'm gonna. So when I get out of rehab, like I say, it's gonna not be till mid-January. I'm gonna hit up Rose. I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna say, Jeremy is. I don't want to how to say this. Making amends. Jeremy wants to have a reasonable discourse.
Yes,
with you.
complete sincerity, no underhanded trolling. Complete
Exactly.
here. Okay, I mean,
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's what the last how long has this been going on? I've been here for 2 hours.
yeah.
I understand that. No trolling, none of that shit. I didn't think you were going to do that anyway, but Rose would be a good one, man. Rose would be definitely a good
Because
one.
I do feel like I let her and Carlton and certain other figureheads at the top down the way I sold myself and talked myself up and how much I wanted to contribute, and I did, But I mean, I was still in the nest, and didn't understand certain things about life yet, and I wanted to see what it felt like to basically go bad and just give in to my id and complete rage and become wrath, and a million other reasons that I did what I did, and I did it, and I mean, now I got to live with it, but I mean, now I know how to compartmentalize better. So,
Right. But so here's the thing: is I don't want it to be like you asking to be let back into this community. I want this
oh no, I don't
conversation to be.
expect that. I want
Yeah.
a just a sort of a mutual understanding. I'm not doing this as an opportunity like I did before. My life is different now,
Yeah.
I just want people to understand what really happened and how, it's that's not how I feel now.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand that, but like I say, when I pitch this to Rose or Cameron or even Carlton or whomever, I just want to make it sure that I'm like, he's not begging for forgiveness. He's wanting to, build a bridge instead of burning it.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yes. I'm not going to use it to pitch anything or sell anything. Just, you gave me a lot of your time and attention, and I thank you. And I'm sorry that,
no,
and I'm also not on my knees asking for this either. You understand?
exactly. Yeah.
Things work out the way they work out, and sometimes it's better, even if it doesn't seem that way. But at the same time, Rose never did anything wrong. She was feeling the pressure, and it disgusts me that people, bullied her when she basically mothered a lot of those people,
Yeah.
And I
mentored and mothered them. She brought them to where they were, and then they just fucking smacked her down. And what I was saying earlier, that's what pissed me off so bad.
Yeah.
And I think Rose and I actually had this conversation. She and I got together back. It was over the summer, and we went to this coffee shop out here in Portland because her office is like a couple blocks from where I live. And so we went out and we had lunch. We went to this coffee shop, and we did bring that stuff up. And I'm like, it really bothers me that she went out of her fucking way to build this community, and people just shit on her. The people that were suckling at her teat were suddenly just biting it off. How many cats do you have, Jeremy?
I don't want to say.
It's okay if you're a crazy cat lady. I don't give a shit.
I am a crazy cat lady, but I inherited them from my parents. So
all right, that's fine.
They're all taken care of.
No. This one really seems to love the microphone.
Yeah. He's probably hungry. But I like where this discussion went. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to touch on before we wrap up, Charles?
Oh, let's see.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's going to be good, and I'll be back. I'm hoping when I get out there, I'm going to hopefully jump on here next available chance I get. I've loved this conversation with all of you.
You're welcome to
Frank,
come.
And Thrillimanjaro and Gregor. Sorry, I don't remember your names.
Gregor.
If Charles Chadwick on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, you guys want to friend me, I would love to be friends with all of you. It's just this has been a wonderful time. Jeremy, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Very refreshing dialogue from someone in the Portland crowd.
Yeah.
And geez, man. Yeah, I want to shake your hand. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed, dude. Hopefully someday we can meet and we can do that.
Definitely.
I would like that. So
have a great night. Best of luck. You're so brave for doing what I don't think I ever could, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, yeah.
All right. You guys have a good night. Take care.
You too.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Talk to you later.